Hello everyone. Hi. Hope you guys are doing fantastically today. Today's the final round of the Reykjavik Chess Open 2025 happening in, let me think. This one is a hard one. I think it's in Reykjavik, Iceland. Yeah, that's that's what it is. Hope you guys are doing well and that you have your coffee and your snacks because I think this is going to be an action-packed game. I was waiting for the live transmission to come through, realized I had the wrong YouTube video open. So I'm a little bit late and I apologize for that. I'm going to just blame YouTube for this. I really hate taking responsibility for my own action. I'm joking. All right. So I saw Kostya like looking off into the distance, trying to remember his lines. Of course, he didn't want to channel his inner Hikaru Nakamura and look up to the ceiling because maybe it's a little bit too cliche right now, but rather like looking off into the distance, creating like a mirage of remembering variations. But I do want to try and sync up the video again like we did last time so that we can have an almost perfect transmission. So I might just pause it. I'm not sure for how long we're going to pause it. Well, maybe we don't have to pause it. Maybe we can just go back a little bit. We can go back like 15 seconds and hope that's okay. But we can keep an eye on it. Well, G4 is on the board at the moment, so yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's a toughie. But hello everyone in chat, how are you today? Oh, great music, thank you. It was like a little bit of a chill intro. Also chose something that was just NCM, non-copyright music. And I had this debate with my chat for the longest time. What would the past tense be of copyright? Is it copyrighted, copywrote, copywrote, or just the simple copyrighted it? Yeah, that has to be what it is. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just catching up in chat as well. It's copyrighted it. I knew it. I always knew it. My English doesn't need work at all. So I'm going to wait for the next move so that we can sync it all up, syncopate. And at the moment, it is Kostya to move. This is a line that I have seen before. I think I've also played it with the white pieces. And I know that it is fairly, well, it looks quite aggressive from, you know, the black side playing against this G4 line. But let's take a look. So knight off, knight f6, knight c3, a6, normal stuff, and an immediate rook g1. And he spent quite a bit of time in this game, or this move as well. Okay, wait, I just wanted to sync it up. We hadn't quite. Okay, that's not so bad. It's not so bad. So we'll go back like 5 seconds, which is actually quite good. Be great to know where we're at. Let's go there. There we go. Okay. That should be fairly synced. Alright, coming back. Right, rook g1. So he spent, I'm not sure how much time on this move. Usually it tells you the think time. So maybe we can't even see that by the clock. Maybe we can have some spies in chat. Look at the, because this is the live boards. And we have the normal live boards with the delay. In a couple minutes, see how long he spent on g6 here. Because for sure, he's seen it before. And maybe he just wasn't ready for it today. And had to remember some opening things. g4. Now, I don't know what the correct continuation would be here. So what we're going to do in the regular Chess Dojo fashion, we're going to turn off the engine and try to think up some ideas. I didn't look at the engine lines, but think up some ideas here with the black pieces. Um, as we all know, I'm not very good at the whole not using the engine thing, so I'm going to lean on chat quite a bit today, as I usually would. Started implementing this in the commentary for the Women's World Championship match as well, and I got into very heated debates with my co-commentators. And I think at some point we went like 18 moves deep into a variation that never even happened. I suppose that is the fun thing about commentating on games. You'll never get to these wild and wonderful situations on your own. Okay, knight c6 is on the board currently, and you can still see Kostya looking off into the distance, trying to remember all of his glory days. JK, I have no idea what is going through his mind at the moment. Can we see it from the start? Was this a freak attack? No. We can go back to the beginning because it is a classical game, so we know no need to rush at all. It's just a Sicilian knight off with rook g1, g4. I'm going to see what the variation's called. It's actually called the freak attack. Who named it? And were they worried when they saw it the first time? I don't know, that seems a little dramatic. Like, maybe it was a drama queen who named it. Yeah. You finally submitted to the fact that chat is better. I will never admit such a thing. Remember when we talked about getting through 1600? You're 1700. Let's go! And that's just by watching a couple of our streams. Honestly, Twitch is the way forward. There was a member who joined my community 2020, and they started off at like 1400. They're now at 1900. So I think that's quite a jump for someone who doesn't even spend a lot of time, studying chess or anything, just enjoys the Twitch community, plays casually and so on. So I definitely think that any sort of adding chess it's like adding good spices to a recipe. You can't go wrong. Yeah. Rook g1 is dramatic and a bit freaky. Are we going to start trying to define the word? I do remember looking at something very similar, but in instances where h6 was possible, continuing with g5 and then playing h5. So the knight obviously wasn't there in that line that I'm talking about right now. Well, I think it's fairly normal and straightforward approach. Like in an opening, if your opponent starts attacking on the flank, your immediate reaction should be to try and open the center, because it's almost always preemptive and a little bit, as we know now, dramatic, freaky, whatever you want to call it, because it is the freak attack. Just open the center, exchange some pieces, and eventually this attack will either fade or just look silly in the end. Because at the moment g4 looks scary because of how many pieces are on the board and could potentially be added to the attack. But right now with knight c6 and the future of perhaps even exchanging and playing, I'm not too sure what the ideas are usually. I think taking and b5 are usual, with the only problem being, of course, queen takes and g5. But I think with the correct move order and knowledge of this opening, it is in fact just possible to neutralize any immediate threats. I don't think it's a cause of concern. And a lot of lower rated players or club level players will be freaked out in the situation. They'll be like, oh my gosh, the g4 pawn is there, it's backed up by the rook, what am I going to do? Excuse me, h4, h5 is coming, or h4, g5 is coming. My life is over. Somebody call an ambulance, but for me. And yeah, no, you don't have to worry. A clock should be implemented for commentators' calculation time, otherwise they have an unfair advantage. Noted. But I think that Even someone like me, could look at a master game and find something that the masters don't find in the moment because of all those extra elements of pressure and being at the board and, you know, blind spots and all these other things that they could be completely overwhelmed. We've seen often, even in blitz games, missing simple tactics because of all those factors that we don't add into the mix. Because we're not being put under pressure, we're simply just onlookers and we see the broader picture. And sometimes when you're so into the game and you have this like sort of tunnel vision and you forget certain things, even though you're good enough to find them, it's easy to miss. Sorry, I'm like clearing my throat quite a bit. I just gulped down breakfast. Had some wonderful oats. E5? I was looking at e5, and I know that in the Sveshnikov, e5 is one of the main moves, but this is a dragon kind of setup, and once you've committed to pushing the pawn on the g file, you're also oh, we saw a move. No, we didn't, not yet. After g6, you're weakening some dark squares, and you want to prevent weakening these squares further because obviously you're going to cover up some of the weak squares with the bishop on g7, and you're fianchettoing this bishop onto the long diagonal, the dark diagonal, and also preparing to castle, creating a nice little cage for the king. However, if you end up pushing the e-pawn as well, those dark squares just become even weaker. So it's sort of like a rule of thumb, but has been done in many lines and systems where you do end up pushing both of these pawns. But the rule of thumb is try not to push both. You're either going to push the e-pawn or you're going to push the g-pawn. So yeah, obviously white didn't get the memo, but once again, it's an exception to the rule. If it's part of theory, if it's part of something that just makes logical sense, you can break that rule. Okay, g5 is on the board, and I want to see if it's also being played. Okay, it has been played. But since you guys are watching the live feed, let me know what the like buffer time between the camera and the board is. If it's just a couple seconds, we can leave it. Let's try to get some more light in here. Oh no, is it worse? How many GM norms does Kostya have? That is a great question. I have no idea. Maybe if we have some regular dojo members in chat, or we have one of the other senseis in chat, they can let us know how many norms, how many GM norms does Kostya have, how many does he need. So you need 3, and you also need to reach a rating of 2500. I'm not even sure what his peak rating is. Yeah. All right, give me 1 second. It's allergy season. Okay. Okay. Doesn't have any yet, but that's why he's competing. And I believe after this, as David said on the stream yesterday, I popped in for a bit, that he's participating in a training camp next. And yeah, it's actually Raluca, who I was co-commentating with yesterday for the Women's World Championship match. She's one of the organizers of the Killer Chess training camp, so that's incredible. And the knight retreats to d7. Of course, you have to decide quite carefully where you want to put the knight. Because on one hand, if you put the knight on h5, it looks kind of great, and oh, I tend to forget there's audio coming from the YouTube video. Bless you to whoever sneezed. It looks kind of great because you're stopping some h4, h5 ideas. But you do have to wonder, you know, what is the future of this knight? The knight on the brim is grim, is dim, needs a trim. His name is Nim. Yeah, I'm clearly the next Eminem, so watch out. But bishop is attacking. Knight doesn't really have a future other than on g7, and you sort of want to reserve the square for the bishop. So I don't see that being, you know, a natural move. And of course you have to think ahead up to the point where, you know, where's the knight going to go? Does the knight have a future there? And I believe knight e7 is just a natural next move. And if there is a buff of about 20 seconds, I think it will be worth just keeping the stream up so that we can see when what is happening. That means I'm blocking chat for a bit. And bishop e3 is on the board. 7 seconds. Do we like that? Is that a good thing? Okay, h6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, 6 seconds. I'm gonna say 6 seconds. So maybe we can try and fix that real quick. And he's got his coffee. Looks like Kostya's finished his tea. I don't know if he drinks coffee. Back or forward now? I don't even know. We have to go backwards. So that's 19, I think. So just remember it's on minus 19. h6 was played quite quickly as well, because after bishop e3 he didn't think all that long before playing this move, and that's probably because he just wants to make sure that white doesn't capitalize too much on the space advantage. And even though the pawn on g5 seems rather harmless, you also don't want to play with fire and leave that pawn, you know, in your territory for too long, because it can get uncomfortable. It's like leaving a splinter in your foot. You don't want it to chill there or naturally just disappear. You want to get rid of it because it's just a little like, get it out, you know, and that's what he's doing right there. Playing h6, just getting rid of the splinter on g5. Okay, and now we can take a look at ways in which white can counter. I'm thinking just if takes, white might just be cheeky and try to prevent black from having any opportunity to short castle. Though I don't imagine short castling can be all that comfortable with the rook on g1. So after queen to d2, both preparing to long castle and attack the rook, rook will come back, long castle, and I think that we might even have a chance here to put the knight back on f6. Could even leave it there for now. And the only thing we have to worry about is something like knight takes, pawn takes, and queen d4, making things a bit even more uncomfortable. I was trying to reserve some squares for the knight in the center, but then you're also running into moves like f4, which could lose a tempo there as well. And it's really a battle for tempo. So if you want to make a video about tempi, you can say battle of the tempos. Battle of the tempis. Tempi. Yeah. English is a really difficult language, isn't it? It is. I'm thinking about what if Kostya decides not to take the pawn immediately. Is it forced? Because queen d2 can be played. Maybe you don't have to take. Maybe you don't have to take immediately. And this bishop would be rather overcommitted as well if you're playing a move like e5. Because if you play e5, you're almost always tied down to this idea of playing bishop e7, protecting the pawn, and later on trying to play d5. But if you play g6 now, there'll be this gaping hole in this diagonal. And yeah, I don't think that that e-pawn is going to move anytime soon. Maybe we'll see some ideas of just leaving the pawn there and trying to just gain some time on development here, playing queen a5, and with the option of playing the queen over, attacking h2 and h6. That could be an idea. What else? I'm trying to make b5 work, but you would have to take on d4 first. Also, like a big no-no. Yeah, this will be really, really tough, but also interesting to see how the opponent responds. I'm so glued to the live cam right now to see the difference in time. So I'll catch up in chat once we have everything synced up. I think he's going to take. I didn't even look at other options of playing h4. I don't see the point in it. Mainly because, you know, you're opening up a file for the rook, and this seems just rather comfortable for... That just seems comfortable for white. For black, sorry. Even though you still have that splinter there, there's some compensation of open file, which white will have to spend a couple moves trying to challenge, even if it's bishop. Oh, he played h4. Okay, there was something like 3 seconds. I think that's perfect. Right? It's perfect. I think it's fine. We can survive. It is fine. Yeah. Was the h2 pawn poisoned in the bishop takes h6 line, so you could just snag it? Oh, no. It was not. It was a lapse in judgment on my part. You make a very valid point. Yeah, now that I think about it, it was actually just possible. Perks of not having the engine on. Okay, so the point was that you were making here. Takes. Queen d2 trying to long castle. I suppose you could spend an extra move taking. I wonder if white would just be very comfortable giving up the pawn, because after long castles, there are at least 3 moves behind in development, as opposed to white, who just needs to move the bishop and, you know, everything is fine. And ways in which white could capitalize on black just grabbing the pawn could be, well, let's see. Let's try to, for instance, get the bishop out, and maybe the bishop wants to go this way, so knight f6. Something like bishop c4. Yeah, I just wanted to get white to, you know, threaten the h-file, challenge the rook over there. So maybe in that sense it could be poisoned, though I'm just trying to justify my lack of seeing rook takes h2. But yeah, I'm wondering now why I didn't consider it. And it could be that I either missed it or didn't think it was an option. Yeah. Probably the former. It is still relatively early in the morning for me on a Tuesday. Yeah. And I've been seeing a lot of chess for the past couple of weeks. And we're not used to the dark squared bishop being stuck around here. The dark squared bishop? No. The dark squared bishop, you know, usually sees the light of day. It's the light squared bishop that we usually have problems with because of the French defense, which I'm trying to change. So someone needs to write me a letter, and that letter needs to be headed with the words French intervention, which is a French intervention. And just give me reasons in which, or reasons why I shouldn't be playing the French anymore, rather. And offering some really good solutions, so things that I could be taking on instead. So, you know, if you're a chocoholic who loves chocolate, you can't just say, stop eating chocolate, it's bad for you, in copious amounts. Rather, you'll be like, stop eating chocolate, here's a solution, why don't you try eating pretzels instead? That's a really bad comparison, and this is why I don't make those a lot. Or if I do, they're just very silly. So yeah, French intervention incoming. Everything is because of the French. It's really a ripple effect on my life. It's like self-harm, but she doesn't stop. Oh, that's so sweet. But Colin, thank you. Kostya's been playing some inspired chess. I think we were all on the edge of our chairs yesterday, because at first I was busy with some work, so I was just watching the game. And the reason why I was watching the game is because I really wanted to at least be able to know what was happening in the previous game going into the last round. And then I was like, okay, I'm done with my work. I want to check out the stream. And David was talking about the game, and there were some options. And David came up with his own engine called The Truth 1.0. And we were talking about ways in which Kostya could actually win that game, because I think he was ahead, like from the opening, and his king was in the center. Both kings were in the center, actually. And there's so many ways to try and turn that into a smooth conversion, which is quite easy to see when you're watching a higher rated player analyze a game. They open your eyes to so many things. But I also had the engine, and so I was like referring to that a lot, and I was trying to ration, because of course you see the best move and you're like, is this really a human move? And then you try to look at the line and see if, you know, with some simple calculation, is it possible for any regular Joe to see? And it wasn't. It really, really wasn't. The bishop g5, knight off. Yeah, isn't that just that's just the main line, right? Main line, Sicilian playing with the idea of putting, you know, long castling, putting the queen on d2, sometimes on f3, and trying to attack on the king side. Oh wow, Dan. Literally the worst analogy ever. Thank you. I do strive to be unique in that sense. I'm glad that I'm helping some people in the world. I don't think the French defense is all that bad. Just like chocolate in moderation is really not that bad. So using it as a secret weapon, like a ninja Death Star, is that what it's called? It's okay. But having like a more solid repertoire is also okay. Give your opponent less, or rather more work to do. Thank you so much for the follows. Welcome to the stream, everyone. You felt like an experienced knight of player with white would have found the right moves there. Yes. And to be honest, I would easily just like jump over to that game while we're waiting for moves to happen on this one. Looking at different options in that game, I found it so interesting and so sharp as well. Because it's easy to feel like you're winning, and I think that Kostya knew he was, especially because right after the game, he typed in chat saying like, "Are you mad at me, boss?" or something really funny. And that immediately told all of us that he for sure knew he was winning at some point and just opted for a draw. But I think a draw is a win in the sense that it was against a much higher rated player. Opponent was a grandmaster, and, you know, solid results are solid. Thank you, Dan, for the very good advice. The pretzel logic makes sense, right? But that's only because I have a pretzel addiction at the moment, which I'm trying to use to combat the chocolate addiction. So it was more of a personal analogy, and maybe that's why it didn't make much sense. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say other than don't watch those reels that tell you if you're craving chocolate, have some sunflower seeds. Yeah, that's gonna make me want to punch a pillow and then throw the pillow out of the window as well as my phone. Yeah. When he was discussing with David, he said he repeated by accident. He repeated the position by accident. I thought that was just like a grandmaster thing to do. You repeat the position once or twice, but then on second thought, you usually just repeat it in order to get closer to time control, which I'm not sure if players actually have extra time after 40 moves. If they do, then go Kostya. He's officially an honorary grandmaster, but if not, then yeah, we can call it an accident. Right, so after h4, captures happened, and like I said, you're leaving the splinter on g5, but as compensation, you have this open h file for now. And for sure, one of Kostya's ideas are going to try and connect the rooks as quickly as possible, so that when white achieves this, it won't seem like it's absolutely forced to take the rook. I'll make some examples here. So after queen d2, please ignore any tactics that I could potentially be missing here. Yeah, let's just play queen c7, long castles. I think we can try something like b5, bishop e2, bishop b7, and now, once the white rooks are connected, trying to challenge for the file, because it's the only open file in the position at the moment. And finally, on this move, black gets the long castle and defend the rook. So now, the challenge is, it sort of cancels each other out there. Because in the case of taking, bishop f3, rook h1 could come, but yeah, no one owns the file anymore. But that, I assume, is like my idea of what you're combining, still the simple ideas of the Sicilian, trying to develop your pieces, because I think piece placement is super important, especially if you're giving up the center this early. And that's what the Sicilian is. You're giving up your c-pawn, in the open Sicilian at least, giving up your c-pawn for the d-pawn, which is one of white's central pawns, but also temporarily giving up the center unless you're playing the Sveshnikov, but then you have to deal with the d6 weakness. And in the dragon, it's like slowly building up a really good, setting up your pieces in a way that are going to be useful, and then striking while the iron is medium warm to hot. And we have queen d2. I think for sure we'll see some moves like queen c7 and trying to play b5. Can't play b5 immediately because the knight is undefended, and if you take, bishop takes, and you're just causing extra problems for yourself because this bishop is undefended. And even though the rook hasn't moved yet and castling is still possible, I doubt it. Like probably 0.0001% chance that Kostya is going to castle on the king side. Because how easy is it to just simply play f3 and try to get the rook to h1, queen to h2, and imagine having to deal with this with the pawn on g5. Not fun at all. Alright, so after queen d2, I think queen c7 is almost always a very natural approach in this position. And I hope that the sync is okay. That the camera and the board, let me know in chat. Because I'm here to serve you, chat. Yeah, we're still trying to decide whether I'm Jessie 1.0 or 2.0. So it's between Jessie February and Jessie Kraai. We're fighting for first place here. But of course, since we are also live on multiple channels, we can say it like this. On Jessie Feb, I'm 1.0. On Chess Dojo, Jessie Kraai is 1.0. What about Chess Dojo YouTube? I feel like that is a very neutral battleground. I'll be able to fight back. I've got skills. Strike when the iron is lukewarm. Precisely. Because I was like, strike when the iron is hot, but like, when is the iron really hot? I don't know. Consider us served. I'm glad. Thanks again for all the follows in the channels. I'm not too sure which channels they are. I have the restream chat up, so if I'm answering questions in one chat that aren't in another, just know that there are 3 channels that are live at the moment, because we're trying to spread the love for the game, of course, We're also trying to spread the love for bad humor and also coffee. Yeah, that's as far as we're going there. Maybe it's Jesse part 3. Maybe it's 3-part Jesse. Oh. Yeah, well, it's good to be back. I haven't yet been crowned an honorary sensei for this duration. I'm assuming I still have to prove my worthiness, which I'm happy to do. It will just take some time. I need to get myself one of those karate uniforms and a black belt. Maybe I can use some nail polish to color in one of a white belt or something. Or to make it more fashionable, just use one with a buckle. I think that'll be great. Kostya has been training on E4 recently, actually, according to David. I wonder if Kostya is going to share his training materials from the training camp that he's attending, because I'm having a lot of FOMO. There's a good chance I won't be able to play in that tournament, but I will be playing in the one in Italy. And I'm trying to get myself into the tournaments in Bulgaria just before that as well. But I think a training camp is super useful right before competing. And it's like a whole little chess tour. I miss those. Did you see his round 7 game? Was I here in round 7? No, I wasn't. I didn't see round 7. Smyslov, King's Indian with King D7. He won, right? He played a 2000 rated player. Was by far his best game in this tournament. Really? Now you're gonna make me want to go and look for the game. Darn it. Them dojo outfits. Very true. I don't have a dojo hoodie, but I wouldn't mind it like one of those sensei, well, not sense, just karate uniforms. I used to have one. I used to actually do karate, but not the 1v1s. I did the kata. Yeah. It was such a long time ago. 1.0, 2.0 system. 2.0 is better than 1.0. Oh. Very, very true. You make a very valid point. So maybe this is the only time that being number 2 is better than being number 1. And I'm really hoping that no one takes that out of context. Vicious addiction cycle incoming. Round 8 was good. From Kostya had very good position at one point. At all the points, I think. Even after some decisions he took in the middle game, I think that he still had an advantage. Like if he were to trade off into an endgame, it would be like a lot better for him. Oh, we just got a celebration from Restream. Can we just celebrate together here? We got 100 messages in chat so far. I'm not sure if it's, worth spamming celebration emotes in chat, but I'm going to take that as a W on behalf of all of us. Hi, Sethix. Good to see you. Oh, thanks for the game. Last looked over was ahead like 25 first moves, good confidence boost. I think you're going to need to re-explain that message in a language I can understand, because as I mentioned, I didn't really sleep all that much. Well, I didn't mention that, but I did say that I am quite tired. All right. Okay, there was a commitment here. There was a huge commitment after queen to d2. We saw a knight to e5. Can I ask chat a big favor? So those of you who don't like to see the evaluation, can you just like close your eyes for 5 seconds? Because I just really want to check the engine real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'll tell you when to open your eyes. Okay, you can open your eyes now. I'm getting a better feel for the position. I wasn't so sure about this move knight e2 to e5. And the reason why I wasn't sure is because of a later f4. Because what white can do is just allow this. I don't know. Because I think long castles... Okay, long castles will not happen here. Bishop e2. Okay, bishop e2 is normal. Yes. So now knight g4 is not even on the table anymore. And I will sort of spoil some other options here that I saw. Ideas of playing knight to c5, which I looked at and wasn't very convinced that it was a good way to go. Although Engine probably had its reasons. Another way to go about it was queen to a5, which we had looked at earlier as well, just putting pressure on g5, developing the queen, and hopefully, you know, getting in a exchange and... Oof, I actually don't know. I was so sure queen c7 was going to happen. And another one was rook to h2. Another way of sort of saying, you know, you're not allowed to play the f-pawn right now. But okay, knight e5 and bishop e2, and now I really am worried about f4. Okay, so some thinking will happen here. I'm feeling the think tank is calling, and Kostya might answer. Whoa! Oh my gosh! What is happening? I think he wants to give us a heart attack. I am so confused at the moment. This is like tactics 102. It's not even tactics 101 anymore. Okay. Okay, hold on. All right. The first thing we're going to do when looking at this position, because I know for a fact that Jon will be waiting and chilling on this move. All right. Let's accept it. Okay, so bishop takes. Yes, I know rook h1 is the threat. Bishop takes. And let's just lean into it, right? So takes, rook h1, king e2, and rook takes. Now we stop. Okay, because this is clearly the tactic, and let's assume that he just gives up the exchange, and in exchange for some activity. So he starts. Get rid of the knight that's active, and stop. Now we can look at ways that white can capitalize on this. Let's try bishop. Just attack the bishop because if bishop takes. You also have some ideas of your own because if takes, you have this. And that can be dangerous. The rook is out of commission for at least like 2 moves. Like, what else do you do here? You might have to take and play e5. Or maybe you could just play e5 immediately. Oh my word. Okay, come back. Rook tries to also retreat. And now... Oh. Okay, no, we don't play that. Let's come back. If I'm missing something, chap, please just tell me. You could also stop the rook from just retreating altogether. You could be playing moves like this. Rook h4. I forgot to close my eyes, now the game is spoiled. I apologize. I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm so sorry. I played e4. Is he a religious d4 player? Is this why e4, training e4 is just a big wow? Oh, we played some days... Oh, right. Yes, you were doing very, very well against me. Thank you for just refreshing my memory. I was so lost. Hey, Screws, good to see you. Thanks so much for the follows. Yeah, I'm really sad you weren't following. Hi, everyone. Hi. Oh, you're welcome, Screws. Yes, we had a really big raffle on my stream. We were giving away $40 worth of Chessable courses. And and also some AIM Chess memberships and chess.com memberships. And I'm hoping to do that again soon. But that was all part of a really big event we were hosting last week. Not intentional. Well, I hope that you'll be visiting our stream more often now. Well, I hope that no one unfollows Screws. Please don't promote this. But okay, coming back to the live position, I have so many questions. And my first question is, what the actual is going on at the moment? This is the last move I would have looked at, and probably what Kostya's intention was with knight e5 and why I hadn't considered it in the first place. Bishop e2 and just going for knight g4 for tactical reasons, and of course trying to just win, exchange the knight for the bishop and have a bishop pair going into the middle game. I can see why this bishop can also cause some problems later on, because of this pawn being on g5 and some holes on h6 and f6. So you do want to get rid of the dark squared bishop, but is this the way to go about it? Please, can I check what is happening here with the... Okay, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, but just by saying half of that sentence, you can probably assume exactly what I'm doing. I just need some help in terms of like understanding what is going on. I might also steal a second away. Oh, wait. I'm just trying to see if any line actually leans into the sacrifice. Well, that's lame. Okay, it doesn't. With one pocket per hand, no need for a calculator. Moral degradation. I will make you feel horrible. It's not... don't laugh at me for using the engine. Listen here, you're not any help, chat, so I just blame you. I wanted to know if this line was possible with taking, and rook takes. You could try to just push the bishop back, right? Because on one hand, I feel like white's dark squared bishop is going to serve more of a purpose than the light squared bishop, which is usually not the case. But with this kind of setup, maybe it is the case and white wants to retain the dark squared bishop because it feels like a forced choice, right? And since Yun is spending quite a bit of time in this position, maybe there's a very small chance, but he could be overthinking and cause more harm than good for himself in the next couple of moves. Because Kostya is going for complications. Off the bat, on move 13, he's like, I'm impatient, let me wreak some havoc. And now maybe the bishop will come back to d7, which makes, development a lot easier. And I could see, lots of reasons now as to why he went ahead with this idea of playing knight to g4. He just wants to also make some space for his other pieces, right? So queen a5, and you could leave the king in the center or long castle of white long castles, so... Queen a5, if rook h1, castles, and then it's good. Yeah. Alright, chat, I'm going to be right back. Gonna sort out my sinuses. Yeah, I just need to go and maybe take some allergy meds or something. Today is just a very weird day. The weather's been like up and down. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Or if you go somewhere, can you grab both of us some coffee? That would be very helpful. All right. And I'm back. Did you miss me? That was a quote from Sherlock, one of my favorite series, actually. I really like those sort of detective series, but also includes one of my favorite actors ever, Cucumber Bumberbatch. I know, it's Benedict Cumberbatch. You remember the quote? Did it also just mess with your mind and absolutely just, yeah, it definitely did that to me. April's already half over. Okay, there was really no need for you to say that. Time is flying by so quickly. I feel personally attacked. Cucumberbatch. Benedict Cucumberbatch. Cucumber Bomb. He is a very, very good actor. He just happens to star in two of my favorite movie series. Movies being the Doctor Strange movies and series being Sherlock. Yeah. Benadryl Cumberbund. I love these variations. And he also gave an interview at some stage where he was talking about his voiceover. I'm not sure if it was National Geographic, but he spoke about penguins. And every time he said the word penguin, he changed the way he said it. It was penglings. And then penguins. Penguin. Penguin. It was brilliant. Alright, luckily we didn't miss any action in the game. Just trying to refresh and make sure. Yeah, I get FOMO, so I was trying to rush as quickly as possible. And I think I do feel a little bit better. I just ran around the block real quick because I say that nothing's better than running to get rid of a bad sinus situation. And if you're asking why I'm not perspiring, I don't believe in it. And if you don't believe in something, then it doesn't exist. And that is the truth, scientifically proven. Oh, you were just thinking about that, yeah. I did enjoy that interview very much. Penguins. Penguins. Oh man, penguins are the best. I love them. One of my favorite animals. Why are we talking about pockets, calculators, and pocket watches? Penguin GM. Yes, that's Andrew Tang, I think. I might need either some confirmation there. Yes, Penguin GM. You believe in me? Oh, Ulan, hi. How are you? You believe in me, which means I exist. Thank you. I appreciate that. I believe in you too. You see, things I don't believe in are things like carbohydrates and negativity and people who eat with their mouths open. Back to the game. Let's look at our candidate moves, which is usually the first thing we do when presented with a brand new position that we didn't even consider was an option here. So bishop takes. I genuinely think that white has to decide which piece to give here. There's no way to escape with the bishop because of e5. So we can't look at that. I suppose maybe there is. And we could play like this. But is this really an option? Peace was never an option. Well, maybe it's okay because on the next move, white is going to long castle and d6. Seems a bit impossible to defend. Including the fact that the knight doesn't have any escape squares, so f3 is imminent. So maybe that won't happen. So after bishop f4... Ah, this knight is just hanging. I obviously knew that. I was just trying to give you enough time to figure it out yourself. Okay. I need to just crop out the evaluation bar for you guys. Make it seem like I'm analyzing the position without one. and everybody wins, right? Because then I sound like a super grandmaster. You have a lot of faith and trust in me and my analysis, and we all just go home happy. Why didn't I think of this in the first place? And I call myself a chess player. Quite horrendous, actually. Bishop takes is on the board. We didn't see bishop f4 because it lost a piece, like we mentioned. So bishop takes, and we'll probably see this in a couple seconds as well. Yep. If only it were that simple. Oh. Oh, there's some HelloFresh commands in chat. I've always wanted to try HelloFresh until I found out it doesn't exist in South Africa. We do have something very similar though, YouCook. I should contact them. Because as someone who's brilliant at cooking, I love to try new things in the kitchen when I'm not being forced out of it for security reasons. Penguins the band? Penguins is a band? Right, we're just gonna see an immediate bishop chops. Like, if that doesn't happen, then I'm gonna start questioning my entire existence. Yep, bishop takes g4. Why is he waiting? Don't wait for dramatic effect, Kostya. Play it. Play it. Very cool. It has been played. Bishop takes g4. Wait, how many seconds are we behind now? It's not being played on the board. I think we went in the wrong direction, chat. Okay, I give up. You never said penguins the same after that video. Yeah. As you can see, that clearly affected me too. It's not a good move, right? It is. I think it's fine, as my Super Grandmaster assessment has indicated. Bishop takes is fine because, yeah, rook takes is just not possible due to rook h1. So I think it's okay. And now just a simple f3. We'll probably see this, and bishop d7. Maybe even trying ideas with knight e5, knight c4, now that the light squared bishop is off the board. This might be, in fact, much more comfortable for black to play. Yeah. What a chaotic order to read the chat. You said, I believe in you too. Oh. Oh. Okay. I have a strange story that it's the reason, and the story is the reason why I know U2 is a band. It's a little bit just out of the bracket of my generation, so I didn't quite listen to any of U2's music. But U2 also had some songs like built into the iPhone, right? Saved by Wolves or something, I can't remember. I think that was also a song by U2, and I was forced to listen to it when I didn't have any Wi-Fi and couldn't use YouTube, so then just popped in my earphones and listened to U2 for some reason. Okay. But the story began once upon a time. I was in school, in high school, and one of our computer projects where we were like trying to perfect Excel contained like a list of bands that we needed to order. So we were learning like basic functions in computer class, and one of the tasks included like sorting them alphabetically. And one of the bands, because our teacher was quite old, and obviously included all the bands that we had never heard of. I mean, U2, the Beatles, some other really interesting ones as well that I cannot remember for the life of me right now. I mean, I love the Beatles now. Never quite understood the kind of music that U2 made. But yeah, then I was like, what is this? Is it a butterfly? And she's like, no, it's a band. And the end. Honestly, the story sounded a lot more interesting in my head. I'm sorry that it never ended that way. But my friend always told me that if your story doesn't end the way you think it would and doesn't get any reaction whatsoever, just add at the end, and then I found $10 and everyone will be like, oh my gosh, no way. So, and then I found $10. Yeah, the end. No, I'm actually a nun. I live in a nunnery and we only get access to internet once a week. And I decided to use this one opportunity to sit in front of the computer and stream. They don't know this because I'm not in uniform and my hair's showing, but I like living this double life. I feel like a secret agent at times. Yeah. Do the just so. Ooh, you said Cook Sisters. And Cook Sisters are a really nice dessert in South Africa. So sometimes I'll go to the shopping center doing like a grocery run and always walk past this like one section where it's just refrigerated delicious goods, like different pies and cakes and Cook Sisters. You can Google it. Okay, not the one with the coconut. That one's not nearly as good. But it's like braided pastry with like syrup. It's really, really yummy. And it's just the self-control that you need to have in order to just walk past it without taking any. It's very, very difficult. Did the $10 change your life in your head? I was many years ago when I was a kid. I did find quite a sum of money on the ground, and it was in the middle of a shopping center, and everyone was just like walking past it, and it was something like 350 rand, which was a lot back then. If I try to do the math, it was probably something like $15, maybe just over $15, but we're talking like 20 years ago. And little old me was like, oh my gosh, I'm rich. And I don't even know what happened to that money. I'm not sure if I reported it or I spent it or what happened, because obviously giving it back to the shop, what are they going to do with the cash other than keep it? They're not going to announce on the intercom that someone lose a sum of money, and then, that wasn't going to happen. So I just, I'm not sure what happened with that money, actually. Yeah, that's an actual story about money. I think we're getting off topic a little bit, but it's because I haven't finished my coffee yet. Yeah. I'm liking the time difference at the moment. Yun has 42 minutes, and Kostya has an hour and 16 minutes. Does Kostya usually play really quickly? Because that's 35 minutes. I'm going to say that, let's round it up. 35 minutes up on time at the moment. You ate it and I knew it. Well, I didn't eat the money. It's made out of paper, and that's not quite the diet I was going for. Thanks for the follow. Time to sleep. Oh dear, am I boring you that much? What time is it where you are? I do know in the US it's quite early, right? We're talking anywhere from 6 a.m. It's around 6, like 4 to 6 a.m. most of you. Imagine going off topic, right? That's what I was thinking. Okay. Options. F3. Other things I was considering and why he could be taking a lot of time here is that he could be worried about this later on. So maybe even playing ideas like knight back here. And I'm just creating some dream scenarios at the moment. The only problem with this move is that it doesn't ensure that black has to move the bishop. Black could do anything. Even Queen c7 and now c4. So going for this Maroczy bind type setup and just leaving the king in the center because the king is really in no danger. I suppose another nice thing about it is just being able to play knight takes, and you know, knight takes will be the response. Is leaving the king in the center even possible here? Do we have any opinions in chat? Worthy or not? He pushed the f-pawn? Oh, he did. He did indeed. Alright, so f-pawn is out and about. I expected f3, maybe it was a mouse slip. Right, because now this idea is not possible. But knight a5 is possible. I kind of like this for black. Because black could maybe even play a move like... No, probably not, because queen here. Maybe bishop back first, rook here. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Queen c7 doesn't work. Right, because knight d5. Screws isn't even sticking around for too long. 350 rand 15 years ago was a bit back then, no? Yes, it was. And now it's worth close to nothing. Okay, not nothing, but yeah. So rook g1 is available and take on c6. I mean rook g1. Aha, right. Now taking is possible. Right, because now taking is a big threat. Because the rook can just go back again. So moving this bishop isn't an option. And queen d7 is just going to limit the number of squares the bishop can go to, so it's cool that f4 does as much damage as f3 would. Forces the bishop to move. Very bueno. Alright, so castles and maybe knight to a5. Then rook h1. Maybe it's okay, you take, and knight c4. And this is quite nice for black. Seems quite equal. Maybe I'm missing something after long castles. Ah, queen d7 first. Yeah, but queen d7 f5, and I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Maybe it's not that bad. f5 takes, and yeah, black can do quite a bit then, I guess. Just taking here. Okay, f5 is not possible. Why don't I like queen d7? Aha, knight d5. Threatening knight b6. Yeah, knight d5 is open there. Yeah, no, you're not asking too many questions, don't worry at all. Would white want to aim to castle ASAP to get rid of the pin? The pin? You mean this idea? I mean, this idea doesn't exist anymore, I guess. But queen d7 and knight d5 would be played. So I think the bishop will come back. That's at least one thing I'm looking at. And queen c7 not on the table because of knight d5. So that's why queen a5 was suggested. So we can go bishop d7, long castles, and queen a5. My dog is sneezing. So cute. Yeah, this seems even more comfortable probably. And if rook h1, just long castle. King is very snug in the center. He probably wants to avoid having a repeat of yesterday. Although yesterday's position was not all that bad. But both kings were in the center. I thought your dog was Coda. My dog Coda was sneezing. Oh, his name is not sneezing, no. Bishop d7 f5. Bishop d7 f5. And now takes? What happens after takes? Pawn takes. Is rook h3 an option? With the idea of playing rook takes bishop and this, we could play I was thinking even just like an immediate taking, but you really don't want to give up that bishop just for a pawn. Maybe you do. Because what I wanted to achieve was something like this, but then just bishop f2 and yeah, maybe rook b4. Okay, this looks a little ridiculous though, because there's rook h1 and you have threats of g6, rook h8. You're a little underdeveloped to wreak this much havoc. So bishop d7, f5, takes. You don't, maybe, because I do want to take, oh, not castle, sorry, f5, takes. And now, yeah, maybe this idea of playing knight e5 is still available then. Because now what we have is ideas of knight c4. If the knight moves, if knight f3, we could even play, yeah, that wouldn't make much sense, but something like bishop takes a knight there. But as I mentioned, probably not enough sense. And pushing a pawn doesn't also make sense, because takes. But now knight d5. Doesn't look great, but I don't think it's bad. Knight e5, yeah. You have QB2, Queen B2. If knight A4, you go Queen B4, force trade, and take with the knight. I don't think I'm following. You mean here? Knight A4? Doesn't look very good because you lose the knight. Or maybe you don't lose the knight. Because after takes, bishop takes. This is a threat. So you just play here, here. And I'm not sure. Here, maybe check. Because he's still threatening the knight. Maybe the knight goes back. And long castle. So many lines. Instead of moving the bishop back. Oh, you want to play knight A5? You mean knight A5, not knight A4? No. Okay. Queen B6. Then your queen is a little under attack. So maybe there's like knight E6 ideas. Even if bishop takes, you take back with the pawn. Oh, okay, wait. Come back. So Queen B6. But you can just take here. It's not an issue. Because now you're threatening the bishop. Yeah, it doesn't seem right. Oh, you want to take on B2. Like this. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we took a piece, so let's see. Oh dear. All right, let's come back. Okay, ignore all of that and just play here. Knight B3. Now it's impossible to defend this. What is the engine talking on about? I don't know. I haven't switched it on. I've succumbed to peer pressure. No, you can't smoke over the board. But I do believe that a lot of the time organizers will implement, or at least like have a specific area, like a smoking zone. It won't be a part of like the regular playing venue if players want to get like a breath of fresh air or something like that, just because a lot of kids participate in tournaments too, and you don't want them experiencing secondhand smoke. I mean, some organizers completely disregard this, like at our African Championship a couple years ago, they were smoking inside of the venue, and you would, if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to pass through this like massive cloud of smoke in order to get there. As dramatic and beautiful as it must have looked as an onlooker, I don't recommend that sort of thing, because I don't like the smell of smoke, and some players are actually allergic to smoke, so, or having that like nicotine, just go into a rage of coughing fits. Could you check? Could you check what? Oh, could I check the engine? Of the current position, maybe. Yeah, it's relatively equal, I believe. Well, not I believe, engine believes. But like a slight edge for Kostya, which I agree with. with the light squared bishop off the board, maybe just it's technically better due to the bishop pair. Smoking in the venue. Well, there's the playing hall and then the venue. So the playing hall didn't have any smoke in it. Players were not allowed to smoke at the board and stuff like that, and it was well ventilated, actually colder than we wanted it to be, and made quite a few of us sick. But then as you stepped out of the playing hall to go to the bathroom, there would just be like a whole crowd of people smoking. Yeah. Hey, funny enough, I'm going back to that country this next month, so I'm hoping that the organization will be better. Yeah. And I was like, I'm never playing in this country again. Goes back to defend title. It's very small detail, of course, Peter, but yes, very relevant as well. What if you're just smoking on the chessboard? Alright, some things happen though. Knight takes. Bishop takes. E5. Okay, we have not predicted in any of the lines that we were looking at. We have not predicted this. And I am shook, chat. I am completely shook. What in the world is happening? If f takes, if f takes, d takes, and bishop moves, where will it move to? Yeah, we might just see an endgame. Queen's off the board. But on the other hand, the bishop is under attack. The bishop on g4. So what if you just allow it? So I'll make an example here. I suppose I can't make an example, because once the dark squared bishop is gone, this threat is renewed. This is way beyond me. I need to start doing more work on my chess, which I am. I think it's always good to get into the habit of improving your chess so that you can better understand and also be able to contribute positively towards analysis. But I would need a bit of time to figure this out, right? Because what I even think could happen here is not captures and just leave this d6 weakness chillin'. Play bishop f2. Play bishop f2, attack the bishop now. Now I'm a little bit worried for black. What does black do? Because long castling and attacking on d6 is both gaining a tempo and also posing many, many important questions. And it comes back to this question of, do you push the e-pawn, since the bishop is already on this diagonal and d6 is going to be a proper weakness. We might even have to see bishop f8 later on trying to defend this. So bishop f2. Maybe now queen d7. Or maybe now queen d7 actually. Because if pawn takes, bishop takes. So long castle. Oh, can't castle through check. Just checking if chess.com had implemented that. Chat had it all figured out. Looking for a training plan and supportive community, join the Dojo training program. Get a free account at ChessDojo.club today. I think I am in the Chess Dojo Discord, and it's really well run. Why not castle long way? Yeah, long castling is probably the plan. And you can't even play rook d1. Well, that just sucks. Okay, never mind. I don't know what the evaluation is anymore. The training program is legit. Shouldn't the two bishops be good in this kind of open mess? Well, yes and yes. Two bishops should be good. And yes, it is an open mess. And it's only a mess to people such as you and I, because we are unable to clean it up ourselves. We have to wait for the experienced players to clean it up for us. Or we can switch on our Roomba, which is our AI help to help us figure it out. Shall we? Jon is stressing. Yeah, poor guy is probably getting whiplash from all of the unexpected moves and turns of events. Not the stare again. I'm sorry, I won't give you a stare. I'll look away from the camera. Bishop h5 and chill? I like that. That's a really good suggestion. So bishop f2, bishop h5. That's a brilliant question, because what does white do about the fact that they cannot put a rook on this file, they cannot castle? Maybe the best attempt is knight e2, which we might in fact see. And then after, oh, but captures and b2's hanging. This is just in shambles. So maybe you have to take first. No, you don't. Maybe f4 was the problem. Well, the move was made, so let's go back to the live position. And bishop e3 instead, right? Okay, makes sense. More sense than bishop f2, because you want your bishop to recapture and attack on d6. And now it is up to Kostya to decide whether queen d7 is the best way forward, or bishop h5, as you mentioned, bishop h5 and chill. Yeah. Okay. Question mark posed to chat. Like, the white knight can get into the crevices, you know, it can get to d5. I'll just quickly show you d5 and, you know, squares like b6, which could be annoying. And with the bishop locked out of this diagonal, maybe it's not so good. I think it's a huge positional commitment, because the bishop will only be serving, well, one job, preventing anything from passing through or landing on d1. That's tough. Knight heading to d5 is an issue. It does seem like an issue at the moment. You know what I think we're going to see, though? And this might be wrong. But takes, and takes. It's probably very wrong. But that's what it will cost to get rid of the knight. That's what it'll cost, yeah, to get rid of the knight. I apologize. 10 out of 10. I apologize. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to keep the bishops. You also want to play d5. You know what I think? And that's probably a bad thought. It's probably a super bad thought. You don't want to leave that diagonal. You want to cover d1, but you also don't want to like retreat. So 2 options, queen d7 or bishop f3. These are the 2 that I'm looking at. Bishop f3 is a little less wow and a little more what are you thinking? Just because the bishop's undefended, it just looks misplaced there. It needs to go home. So queen d7. And now the question is posed to white. Maybe still black because... Dang it, there's so many just moves that happen. Knight d5. Okay, you know what? Bishop e6. And now you're allowing this. That's toughy. I'm thinking at least another like 10-minute think here is my prediction. Now do a Kavutskiy pun, please. No, I don't know. I could barely pronounce it. Kavutskiy. I think that's how you pronounce it. I had to learn during chess talks when introducing everyone. Yeah, it would be forced, I feel like. F5, F6. It does seem like a good shout. How do we deal with this though? Because now it feels like rather than creating problems or finding ideas, it's having to solve the problems, you know, after making a move. So with every move we found, there's been a problem behind it. So we have to find the move that poses the least number of questions or creates the least number of problems. Speaking of F5 though, that is a hardy-da, if you're wondering what kind of bird that is. Hear me out. Okay, you can't hear me out because en passant, but F5 is what I was thinking about. Yeah, and you're probably very, very, very right about this bishop h5 and an f5 idea. Takes, and problems. What if bishop f3 is the best? If you can play en passant, you have to. That's what Eric Rosen told me. Correct. En passant, 9 out of 10 times it's forced. Unless you're looking at the Women's World Championship games, in which case, every time I've made that joke, it has flopped severely. You call the arbiter when your opponent doesn't play it. He's using an engine he didn't play en passant. Waiter, there's an en passant in my soup. Well, you lose 100% of the bishops you don't save. So we have to make a proper decision about this one. Chat. Can we create do we have any mods in chat? Can we create a poll? Maybe, if that's worth your time. Do we bring the bishop back? Do we keep the bishop there? Do we play rook h4, which is terrible? What do we do? Retreat the bishop? Or keep the pressure? If you don't play it, is it called non-passant? And if you don't play it, in India, then it's called non-passant. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant idea. Yeah. I do like naan. So delicious. Garlic naan. What? It's a great joke. I think it's brilliant. Butter chicken with some garlic naan. Now my mouth is watering, chat. And dadjokes.com. Rook to c8. Rook c8? Okay. If he takes the bishop on g4, you take the f pawn. Okay. Attacking c3. Okay. With the rook, could that work? Alright, so we can take a look at that. So the idea was rook c8, but then after takes, you take the pawn. But maybe it's not enough attacking power because bishop f2. Or not even. You can even just play this and ask your opponent what's going on. Yeah. 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 This seems a little bit rough. Maybe it can continue for a bit, I guess. But not worth it in the end. It was nice to look at though. He takes. Is Jan working on getting a GM title? I don't know. Takes. And rook c8. Aha. Because taking. Right. I like that idea. Okay. Pause. Pause. Knight d5, bishop b2 is probably the idea here, and do you give it up? Maybe because what I'm trying to figure out is at the end of the day this bishop is hanging, so let's try to pry open the center or something, you know, so pushing the pawn, and let's just say the opponent goes ahead with this plan. No, that's not going to work. So the attack is on c3. But we maybe, I mean, we can ignore it, right? Take the bishop before you slide the rook down. Rook c4 is an interesting resource now with the rook on the file. Very true. Okay, we have a move. And bishop e6, alright. So retreating the bishop happened. And what I think we'll see is a long castle here. Only problem is that they have, white has just solved all their issues. And d6 is very weak. Maybe, yeah, maybe now taking could be a possibility, then taking the knight and trying to just simplify. or sacrificing the pawn. On d6, you don't take the pawn. So here, playing something like Queen a5, Queen d6, and now take. So if they ever take on d6, you're attacking c3. Yeah, bringing the rook to d8 is also quite nice. So long castle, Queen a5, and if they don't take on d6, you have rook d8. They could try to play some annoying moves like knight to d5, because now bishop here, with the idea of playing knight to c7, is quite annoying. So takes, or even takes if you really want to be fancy. Yeah, check, because if the king goes, yeah, if the king goes anywhere, there's here check and the king has an escape square. So yeah, want to be careful about that. So here castles, here, 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 and you have to stop this. And ideas. I would be a little uncomfortable. Right, long castles happened. Bishop c5. Bishop c5. In which position? In this one? Aha. Over here, bishop c5. That could be annoying. Maybe bishop f8. You could play like an intermezzo, like bishop here first, because the queen doesn't have a lot of squares to go to. Maybe... Oh, wait. This is mate? No, it's not. I lied to you. It is not mate. Kostya should have waited for the poll result. What was the poll result in the end? Tell me. I don't have, like, the Twitch chats open, unfortunately. I do now. Bishop f8? Yeah, in that case, bishop f8, but yeah, I don't want to have to be stuck in passivity playing moves like bishop f8. Plus, if white ever decides to take, it would be an absolute dream to capture back with the bishop. So queen a5 piques my interest. Yeah, I like queen a5. Don't think white will ever take. Ever take here? Probably not. Well, not immediately at least, because you also don't want to create a weakness on g5 for yourself. Sorry for the dogs. They are very enthusiastic about life. Yes, you have to follow the Dojo channel. Let's go. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break, everybody. I'm going to leave the current position on the board, and at least you'll have a chance to see the live cameras and the live position. I'll be right back. I'm back after the short break. So sorry about that. Trying to sort out dogs, heat up my coffee that got cold, and some other things distracted me in between. Needed to help out around the house a little bit. I gave my dog a treat because he looked a little bit lonely. So I was like, you know what? Let's keep you busy for a bit. I see I also missed a couple of moves that happened. Okay, I say a couple, but it was like one move. Rook c8. Again, something we didn't even look at in the beginning of this position. We'll probably get him on a call after the game and he'll be like, yeah, no, it's still theory. JK, they've spent way too long thinking for it to be still theory, but there is a lot of sense behind this move. Dollars and cents, dollar bills and cents. All right, takes, and takes. So seems to all add up in the end. Yeah. Hi. Yes, I am back. Is there a hype train? That's my hype emote. Oh, you're just saying hype. Had to go back to my chat and see what was happening. Yeah, at least my chat is behaving today. I'm so proud of you guys. Chess is boring. Hope she comes back and we can talk about money. Why? Chess is not boring. Chess is very exciting. Another lesson that king safety will cost you. Kostya. Yeah. Listen here. Who needs king safety when you have active pieces? Plus, sometimes the center could be the safest place for your king. It's all about the principle of relativity. And I probably said that as a joke, and it maybe makes sense. Chat is always behaving. Are you sure, Pizza Racer? I don't know. You prefer chess over money. Yeah, chess is not a sport that people go into for the money, unfortunately, unless you're one of the top 1%. And yeah. The principle of Kavutskiy. The Kavutskiy principle. As white, I would try to trade the rook on g1. Yeah, so I do realize now that black, or Kostya, has basically said he will not be castling on the queen side by playing rook c1, rook c8. We might see a rook h1 quite quick because, controlling an open file is great and all, but then what comes after that might be even better for white. So let's take a look at this option here. And after captures, just giving black an extra move. I'm even considering moves like king to f8 and g8. Because now that one pair of rooks have been traded off, maybe just chilling on a square like g8 is really not that bad. And it will just look like you've castled. And after rook h7, king g8, queen h2, and there aren't enough pieces on the king side to attack. There's no checkmate, even though it looks kind of dangerous. Yeah, this could just be played. We can come back. I don't think it looks too bad. Yeah. Queen takes d6, white's best move. Otherwise, it doesn't really look like white's attack on the king side is posing any problems. Exactly. I agree with you. I agree with you a lot. So we took a look at rook h1, which doesn't work. And after queen takes d6, we might see exactly that we had discussed with rook takes and takes. But yeah, that's a huge commitment to give up the bishop pair. Do you have to, just to get one pawn back? Probably the knight will be quite active, so maybe you do have to take. And it's quite equal. Black has a better pawn structure and maybe better piece play, but White seems to have the king safety. Pawn's hanging. This position is incredibly difficult for me to evaluate. I don't know what to say. This could be the idea behind rook c8. I like it very much. Every move that Kostya finds, we first frown, tilt our head a little bit, and then start to understand the genius behind it. Maybe bishop takes a2 instead of rook takes c3. Instead of? Aha, right. So we could go over that line again with queen takes d6, takes, and after captures, take here. Then bishop can come and defend this pawn. And now black is under serious threat because of bishop f6 and rook here. Right, which might actually be a threat anyway. So for it to come back quickly, takes. I hadn't even taken a look at this. Takes, because maybe this dark squared bishop is quite important. And now here, you don't even care about a2. Because now if the rook moves somewhere, right, bishop here, and now there's mate. And if you go here, rook here, I don't know. Looks kind of risky. Looks like a risky biscuit. And nothing's worse than a risky biscuit. Yeah, I would take the rook on c3, obviously. Yeah, precisely. So you can't actually take, sorry. Yes, just take the free rook. I mean, free rooks are delicious and stuff. So c3 you can't actually take on c3. What do you do? Maybe you have to play a rook. Can't believe I missed it. I apologize profusely. Okay, bishop here. And maybe now you take. Bishop. This is tricky. Bishop back. Yeah, that's not going to work. I'd be worried here with white. But of course, there's still many moves before that. Risky business is Kavutskiy business. Okay. Or just take the rook on c3. Precisely. Just testing you guys, of course. Well, also bishop e5 is just a fork, right? Or a skewer, or a fork. Other than the fork, it still looks strong for white. You want to play rook takes c3 first? No, I don't want to give up my rook. Or you want to play bishop takes c3 first, and then bishop a2, yeah. Well, then just bishop e5 is what I want to avoid. So after captures. Maybe you don't even have to do any of that. So this could be the move that we don't play. And instead, play something like, I don't know, rook h3. Because if takes, you don't mind putting your bishop on the square like this. So bishop here. And rook here is always the threat, is what I worry about. But at least now you have bishop f8, if you want it. If you want it. But it's not mate either, because you have king e7 at the end. Rightio. So you can just take the pawn. Okay, I like that better. Rook h3. After it all. Queen takes d6. Queen takes d6. Rook takes d6. King e7 before he takes f4. King e7. But then doubling up the rooks. Okay, let's try. Takes, takes, takes. I like these suggestions. King e7. Doubling up the rooks. And now you want to take. Yeah, this could just be fine. Are you grizzle? $23 for Yoon. I keep asking this question. Let me just go and check, because I don't want to keep asking the same question. The format of the tournament is... Okay, there is time control. So after reaching 40 moves, you get an extra 30 minutes. Okay. Nick Kavutskiy. Wait, what? Oh, that's horrible, waterfall. I read it now and I'm like, I don't know. This is rock bottom. No, it was a really, really good try. Thank you. That gave me a smile. Well, also bishop e5. Oh, so Kostya must see something. Yeah, so I think taking on f4 just won't happen. Oh, he doesn't take, chat. Doesn't take d6. But instead goes for rook to h1 in a world. As I mentioned, I think it's actually completely normal to just take. And after takes king f8. I wouldn't mind this. So if queen h2, don't even have to go to g8, just do something else. Even develop the queen if you want. So yeah, for sure we'll see this. I say for sure and then it doesn't happen, so I would play it and then press like a miniature pause button. I wouldn't want to give up this bishop. I feel like it's too important because it just defends a lot. And White's plan here is to try and keep the queens on the board probably as long as possible, which will increase his chances of, you know, still allowing all three results. But with taking, there were so many ways in which Black could just get the pawn back or an active position, and yeah, that endgame could in fact be a draw. So let's come back. I think trading off a pair of rooks would be the same outcome. Rook c4. No, I don't like rook c4. What do I like? I like taking long walks on the beach. King f8. On taking... See, I don't want to take the pawn. It just gives White too much play. What about b5, chat? Have we considered b5? These pawns on the queen side need to start earning a wage. King e7 and ignore the trade. I just worry about knight to d5. Like, I don't want to give too many... I don't want to give a check to my opponent. Knight d5, and this could be then just forced unless you want to move the king again, then it looks kind of silly. But takes and queen takes, and it just looks really, really strong for white. You don't really want to put your pieces on dark squares either. Maybe you have to play queen d7 now. I know it is opposite color bishops. Maybe queen d7 now. And if takes... Yeah, I'll take with the rook. It's not opposite color bishops, I lied. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that very much. I wonder if king f8 is just a serious consideration here. After takes, of course. I'm just looking over the Jesse engine. Somewhere in the line that's suggested is e takes f4. Well, will it cause more damage to have white capture? Or maybe white doesn't plan on capturing at all, but rather just pushing the pawn. That worries me a lot. And knight d5 incoming. Probably this knight and bishop here just doesn't seem very comfortable. Maybe that's why you have to take on f4, just to distract the bishop a bit. Jesse's quest to become US senior champion. In the 2024 tournament, he finishes with 6 out of 9 in second place. What I'd give to have like a dark, deep voice. To be able to do voiceovers like that would be so cool. Like, in a world where chess players reign supreme. I think it would be absolutely epic. I could do like movie trailers or like, I don't know, Marvel cinematics. That'd be so cool. I feel like the deeper the voice, the more people tend to trust it, you know? It's like, oh, the voice of all knowing. I remember you too, Kingpin. Hi, welcome back. Must be a voice filter for that. Yeah, but sure. Well, I don't know if Logitech has the voice filter, although I am using a Rode mic. I should try to find it. I mean, with AI, anything is possible these days. That's very, very true. In a world. Kingpin, I remember you on #chess. Yes. I have a good memory for usernames. I should record an over-the-top chess trailer like that and put it on YouTube. Yeah, and just add like terrible humor to it. I like that idea. But then I'd have to do like an American accent and pretend to be like a man. Be like, in a world where chess players play chess and push pieces and press their clocks. Sometimes they time out and sometimes they tilt. Oh man, that would be epic. I'm so sorry, Chess Dojo. See, this is the kind of weirdness I bring to the channel usually when I'm live. And believe it or not, I even plan on going live on my own channel in about an hour. Didn't realize. Yeah, my assumption was that the game was going to go on for 2.5 hours. I'd have a break for lunch and go live on my channel. But if it just like continues, I think it would just be like a natural progression of just, and then I'll like stop the stream on Chess Dojo, go live on my channel, and we'll just like continue the madness, you know. Because rest days are not for rest. Rest days are for the weak. This is how you see men talking? Yeah, I've never heard a man talk before. Because I went to an all-girls school, and I was there from 1st grade until 12th grade. And even at chess tournaments, it was like, surprise, surprise, your opponents don't actually talk to you. So I was like, when I heard Morgan Freeman's voice for the first time, I was like, is this what all men sound like? And my mum said yes. Yeah, and it didn't help when I joined the nunnery, so it's just a really rough assumption of what I think it would sound like. Every man has a trailer voice, don't they? I'm so sorry. Food is a priority. Very true. I might just bring some food on stream and mute myself because I don't think most of you are into ASMR food eating streams. Nunnery stories. Rest days are for the weak. Proceeds to yawn. I didn't yawn. Did you yawn? Oh dear. All girls school? We don't have that anymore in France. Remember the good times. Oh wow. Yeah, I wanted to be in a co-ed school where there were both boys and girls. I thought that was a very important social experience that everyone should have. So yeah, my social experience was in the chess world and whatever like curricular activities I was doing as a kid. But yeah, I just find that there's like a very different dynamic when it comes to being around just women and girls like the entire day for like years on end. It either went really well or really badly. Led to a lot of cattiness though. Not on my part. I was like this quiet kid. And then when I started streaming, you should see one of my first streams. It was quite interesting. Because I was too shy to stream alone, so I partnered up with a friend, and we streamed together for quite a while until we started feeling comfortable enough to do like solo streams. And that was very interesting. You just end up like rambling on and talking to chat and answering questions, becoming unhinged. And now it's like you don't have a care in the world and you just say what you say, and that's okay. Can I put the knight on d5? After b5? Or what do you want to do? Here, b5 and knight d5. Now I think it's not as powerful. I think it's okay. Black can do a lot to just sidestep any problems. Rook c6, or I don't know if I would suggest taking, actually. Because if you take, queen takes, and the queen sits there for a while, maybe you can even take, yeah. Yeah, I think I would take the pawn. The trailer needs to show a motionless chess player thinking for 30 seconds and go into a dramatic close-up the moment he lifts his hand to make a move. Ooh, does someone want to draft or direct the whole video part, and I'll do the voiceover, and it'll be like the best collaboration ever. Get thee to a nunnery. Yeah, I'm not actually in a nunnery, but you probably knew that already. Just wanted to make things clear. Knight to d5 seems annoying for black, but black can't really trade either as queen gets very active. Very true. I think because black doesn't have as much space as he'd like to, there should be some very sneaky ways in which to trade these pieces, because the ball is in Kostya's court at the moment. And maybe now queen a5. And then you don't allow queen d5. Oh, not queen d5, knight d5. Queen takes d6. Can lead to... yeah, rook d8. Because where does the queen go? Queen has to go to a really random square, like queen a3. Maybe this will be it. If both players get into time trouble, because we are only on move 19, so I don't think they'll get to move 40 with like a sufficient amount of time left on the clock. Then if it's still equal, it's probably going to be better and easier for the most chess fit or energetic person to play the most accurate chess in time trouble. And I don't know both players all that well, but my money's on Kostya in that regard. 30-minute time advantage gone. It is gone, but maybe there's more to figure out over the board. Yeah, rest day is up for the week. A self-induced yawn. Yeah, they're only on move 19. Crazy, huh? Like, we can go back to the start. It looks like they're on move 30 or something, but it really isn't that many moves. G4. Right, so this is move 10, which is easy to believe. But then they just had like a crazy number of exchanges, probably. Here, exchange. This is move 15. And now we're here. Oh, it's been played. Rook takes h1. Okay, natural move next is this. But we'll just keep the live position up so we can see it being played. Oh, he's not back at the board yet. Okay, we're gonna wait for him to get back at the board. People standing outside, doing some Pilates. I don't know what he's doing. Waited for the opponent to move to leave so he can make a move. Yeah. Also, if you guys want to join me on stream a little bit later, we're doing an unboxing because I received this package. It was a chess gift from a new company that just started launched. I like unboxing and I wanted to wait for chat. I think the game will go on for some time. But we'll wait for the opponent to come back. Maybe Kostya knows exactly what to do after the exchange. You don't just spend that much time, exchange the rook, and then not have a follow-up. Ooh, thank you so much for the raid. Amazing. I appreciate it. I hope you had a fantastic stream. And yeah, everyone go and follow Miguel. Is it Miguel? Because it's not spelt Miguel. I look all professional, thank you. Wearing my super schmancy Migle. Never mind. It reminds me of the Jungle Book, Mowgli. Migli. Okay, got you. Where's Heisenberg? Like on the map? Oh, he just took. He took it. I think he's going to follow up really quickly with a move. We'll spend at least a couple seconds here and then he'll make a move. Migle. Wait for it, wait for it. I have seen Breaking Bad. Oh, Jesse Heisenberg. Lol. Funny. I just haven't seen it in a while. Now say his last name. Simona. Is he Greek? Because that's like the one language I cannot pronounce any words from. Simona Vikiut. Lithuanian. Okay. Well, there's another country. Close enough. I'm so sorry for my mispronunciation. Yeah. Heisenberg, not Heisenberg. Okay. Nunnery had cable. Yeah. We got cable a couple of years ago. Very high-techy stuff. Lithuania is Poland? I mean, yeah, Polish words are also very difficult to pronounce. It's a link I can't click on, I'm so sorry. Oh, there's a raid that I missed. I apologize. Oh, thank you so much, Keith, for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic one. Yes, my apologies. Thank you so much, Keith, for the raid. Hi. I'm using a Restream chat, so I have to go back and forth between Twitch and Restream. Lithuania and Latvia, I bet if you tell someone from those countries that they're the same, basically the same country, you will probably get ejected from Earth. They'll kick you further into space than Katy Perry went yesterday. King F8's on the board! Oh my gosh, I feel amazing that I was able to predict that. King F8, King F8. It just feels natural, right? Because if Queen H2, you're not going to play King G8. And, okay, I suppose the only bad thing about this King F8 move is that Queen D6 is possible with Queen A5 and now Knight E5. So we spoke about Queen A5 instead of King F8, but now Knight D5, and I'm actually considering ideas of just capturing it, right? Because maybe you have to think about things like that. Or maybe you take first, bishop takes, and no, go back. B5. Chat, what do you do here? Yeah, you did predict. You predicted Knight D5. US and Canada are the same country. Yeah, no. I think Rook C4 here might be it. Either that or because you also don't want to run into moves like this, so you don't want to touch the king side all that much. It's very rigid and fragile. Knight f6 is very risky. I don't think we're going to see Knight f6. Highly unlikely. So we'll make like a random move for black. Knight f6. Definitely just take, and take. If Queen d6 check King g7 and... there's this. I don't think it does much. This is really a cause of concern. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Follow-ups. Okay, no, this worries me a lot, actually. You might have to take. Do you have to take? You have to take. What is this nonsense? You have to take, queen takes. So maybe just to sort out all those problems. Queen e7 maybe. I like queen e7 now. I actually like it a lot. I like it a great deal. You could play, yeah, I think you can play queen e7, maybe even king g8. I'm not sure. However, I don't want to be too rude. Chat, if I may, still wait 5 to 10 minutes for a quick lunch, and then I can be right back. I'd appreciate it a lot. All right. Oh, wait. No, we have bishop takes c5. I can't leave. There are moves on the board. And there are move 21 right now with under 20 minutes on the clock. It's happening. I think you'll play almost immediately queen takes d5. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think it'll be a quick draw. He looks like a fighter. He would have taken queen takes d6 a lot earlier if he was okay with the draw. Yeah, he took with his queen. Okay, queen takes d5. I think I'm trying to see if there are any immediate threats for white other than queen takes b7, and I don't see it. So maybe instead of queen to e7, we might even see queen c7, and that way you're still protecting the pawn but attacking here, so then rook h2. b5. And I don't think captures will happen. Yeah, that seems rough. Maybe we'll play a3. Oh, moves on the board. Queen c7, let's go! f5 is a threat. True. Didn't see that. f5 takes. Oh, this bishop seems rough. Okay. A diamond in the rough. That's a serious threat. Okay. Yeah, you can't even play queen c6 here to try and trade the queens because f6 is just a big boom. Maybe you have to play here now? That doesn't seem right. Do you have to take? Maybe. Okay, let's defend. Well, I mean, not right now because checkmate. But you have to defend. Okay, c3 was played. And now queen c6, immediately going for exchange of queens. Very, very smart. Super duper smart. Because now, if queen takes, rook takes. f5 takes f6. No, that doesn't look right either. Maybe you have to play king here then. Because if here, then it looks okay. Yeah. Yes, queen c2 mate. I was just looking up. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, mate is usually better than dealing with the king side. Yes. Time is going to be an issue. So look at which side is easier to play. I think Kostya's position, maybe from the middle game, has been a little bit tough. Lots of problems to solve or figure out. And now just trading queens will make things a lot simpler. And yeah, The only thing to be concerned about later is this idea. Draw in the end. It is possible now. Queen back. Who hasn't played yet? If queen back, I think it's easy for black, no? Because, let's say queen here. Now you can even just take. Bishop takes. Maybe not. Good question. It could be cheeky and go after the queen, but d6 is hanging with check. So yeah, I think takes is fine. And this looks so risky, but king e7 to defend the pawn. I don't want to play rook d8. Though rook d8 because there's no point in attacking c3 anymore. This looks okay, I guess. Can't push the pawn because h1's hanging. b5. You could play b5, but remember this idea of playing f5 is still there. Oh, now it doesn't work because h1's hanging. Nice find. Oh, would you trade? But he didn't want to trade earlier. Why would he want to trade now? I take that back. Okay, rook takes will happen. He's just writing it down first. If king e8, then rook h7. Right. Oh, true. At least we don't have to consider that right now. Yeah, for sure he'll take back with the rook. I don't see two ways about it. I see one way about it. Bishop e5, d5, rook h8. He took with the pawn. Okay, I don't understand chess anymore. Right, maybe with the idea of playing this. And if takes, take with the bishop so that you don't ruin your pawn structure. Okay, I think this is another like moment for players to spend some time thinking. Move 24, 16 moves to make until the extra 30 minutes, 14 minutes for white, 18 minutes for Kostya. Chess is hard, indeed. Let me not go. Darn it! Are we gonna see f5? I think f5's on the board. I think he played f5. Eep. Yeah. Yep. Wait a second. Wait. Okay. Hang on 2 smidgens. King g8 immediately. f6. Bishop f8. And it looks kind of scary, but these pawns are weak. And black can counter, probably by playing some d pawns, go after with the rook, and try to win him. Of course, there's another way to go about it, and white might actually take, and same, right? This is okay. That looks scary, confirmed. B takes c6, with the intention of e takes f4, bishop f4, king e7, so f5 is kind of forced. Yeah, f5 looks scary at first, and now I'm not so worried about it because pushing this pawn is just... Okay, taking, and king g8 has been played. Maybe this is even an easier approach. I just wanted to leave the pawn there because I was afraid of f6 and something like this for g6. But on second thought, king h7 then. Is this something? Probably not. Just go here. Yeah, don't have to worry about it. And this, and this, and yeah, that's right. Okay, never mind. King h7 to g6. Yeah, the perks of only having a one color bishop on the board. Someone fought me on YouTube once, and I still wanted to make a video on that comment. It was me like discussing the perks of having a bishop versus a knight in an endgame, where the knight can only really be powerful in an endgame if all the action is on one side of the board instead of on both, because it's hard to reach both sides, but a bishop can. And they're like, you're wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, your bishops can't be better because they only control half the board, and knights can jump from one color to the next. And yeah, it was just like too silly to offend me, but also like wildly opinionated that I wanted to make a video about it. But yeah, anyway. King to d2. Players are moving really fast now and really seeing the value of trying to reserve that time that they have left before move 40 for critical moments. Smart idea for white to not push any of the pawns, because they are hanging pawns at the end of the day, and pushing them can just lead to weaknesses. Can jump from one color to the next, have no choice in the matter. Yeah, Kostya might spend a couple minutes trying to decide what's the best approach. Because now that you have a dark squared bishop, both of them have dark squared bishops on the board, you want to be careful where you put your pawns. And even if you do decide to put all your pawns on light squares, the bishop does end up having more range. So pushing pawns can create weaknesses, and just keeping the pawns on d5 and e5 could be great. And there's something beautiful about this. I do like it a lot. Maybe we'll see a king d3 trying to provoke e4. I'm wondering how the rook can get in though. Get in on all the action. Because ideally you want your rook to sit behind these pawns. And that way you can put pressure on them. And there aren't any back rank threats because that rook doesn't have access to the 8th rank yet. We could also just go nip, 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 nip all the way up. It's like a minority attack, if we've spoken about quite a few times. They're not on move 30 yet. They're on move 27. Bishops only cover half the board, but in just 3 moves they can get to any of the controlled squares. Knights, however, take a long time to cover every square. Very true. Perhaps that is what I'll use to argue my point. Though I have a feeling I'll be fighting with a wall. Okay. Hopefully it will not be the commentator's curse and we'll like miss 5 moves. I'm going to take a restroom break, take a few bites of food and come back. All right. Stay frosty, everyone. And go get your coffee refills. BRB. Alright, I'm back, and I was sitting here actually eating my noms, having a small little salad, and honestly, the avocado just like saved my day. Because who doesn't love avocado? But what the heck has been happening? I'm a little bit unsure about the developments of this game. Excuse me. Bishop c5? Because what I'm assuming here is that maybe you can like leave the bishop on g7. Since I was looking at ways in which white could capitalize on the control of this diagonal, so maybe black could just continue with this idea of playing for activity with the rook, attacking the pawn, because in the case of bishop here, you just take with check. So instead, there was an exchange, okay. And f6. So what happens here exactly? On g6? The only issue with this is now, maybe rook d8, rook h7. And you have to defend this way, because after this, here and here, maybe it's okay, but you have only a few problems. The king, yeah, I don't know what the evaluation of this position is actually. Yeah, f6 does seem a bit forced. Otherwise you have the rook entering, and after captures, maybe just rook f7. So we won't have captures. White will probably go for this passed pawn. Yeah, and then parking the rook here maybe. Because you don't want to give up f7, since rook h7, rook f7, or rook c7, or rook a7. So, yeah. Thank you for the follows. Black's king is basically trapped. For now, I do worry about the potential of the queenside pawns for white. But other than that, because, okay, let's take a look at this line real quick. Here, here. Now I'm thinking just b4, because if you take, there's a good chance white will be able to achieve a passed pawn. So here, I'm not entirely sure. This king is sort of tied down. Yeah. And the king will just stay here as well. Outside passed pawn. This might be just good for white. Going like this. Oh, black to move. What do you even play? Yeah. Maybe rook, pawn, king, pawn. Oh, this doesn't work. Wait. So rook. Rook. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Rook and pawn endings are not my strong suit, but that's as far as I could go there. Black losing, rook d6 check. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, I missed it. Because king h8, rook takes, and... Oh no. No. Pawn takes. Oh, and the king. Alright, I see. You have to go here. And then maybe just b4. It's still difficult though, right? g6 check. He seems confused. Alright. Well, rook g6 check was played. King h7, pawn takes. Maybe this is just a better version. Your king's not stuck on h8. So now we could think about playing moves like rook f7. Because what you want to do is you want to stop the pawn from going forward, where white sacrifices these two pawns on the f5 for these two, and then these pawns are just very strong. So yeah, b4, I think. But it doesn't look like black can make a lot of progress. Maybe just trying to do some things. But I'm not so sure. The king will just march in. So you don't want to push any pawns, and also Zuchswang. You might have to at some stage just throw it in the kitchen sink. And you don't want to do that either. Oh, it's just a very tough situation. Maybe I'm a bad omen for this channel. I think that all the boards have a 15-minute delay. But I've got the live footage. I got you. He takes up. Why didn't Kostya offer queen trade? After e takes f4. Alright, so you don't immediately lose both the c pawn and the a pawn, so if f7 takes, you do have some, you know, activity at least. Maybe you can even go for a check in king c1 and try to push one of the pawns. Or just here first. Because in the case of this, here, and yeah, you'd have to come back. So maybe here, just playing king g6 and get the king to the side. What's the opponent's score? I'm not sure. It won't show on my side. Rook g6, king h7, g takes f6. Yeah, so instead of... because I was thinking that the pawns could just lock the king out. However, the pawns would have to be on f6 and f7 for that. But then the king could just get around. So that's why g takes first, trapping the king. Problem is, since black's king is not going anywhere, and black's rook sort of tied down to the defense of the f8 square, I worry that white could just simply march the king over to the queen side and do the gobble gobbles. which I don't like very much. Yeah. Alright, this is another way to go. Trying to get a pass pawn on the a file. Because the plan is, let's just say rook f7 and trying to go back and forth. b4, takes. Even in this position, I think, here, you might be able to afford this plan over here. Going takes, and b4. Because now black has to take this pawn first before heading to the king side. Yeah, it just escalated so quickly. I'm not 100% sure how we ended here, or ended up here. White has a... Alright, I didn't know about the evaluation. Was trying to hide myself from the evaluation. My voice is not audible. Well, I hope it is. I don't think I'm muted. Was I not speaking clearly? I apologize. I'll just bring the mic a little bit closer to my face and sit up straight and not block my voice. I was getting into my thinking pose. Oh, right. So it was the poll that Kostya missed. I'll ask him to keep the Twitch chat up next time so that we can help him. I mean, he doesn't really need our help. He's a very strong player. Yep, a4. All right. So 8 minutes left in this position and very, very difficult task at hand. And what I think is still possible is trying to create some sort of complications for the opponent. And in saying that, you could have some final tries of playing moves like c5, because that way I'm still thinking that b4 does work, or maybe even not, because takes, king here, you just push this pawn, and then after rook here you take, and maybe it's a draw. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe it's Maybelline. I was even thinking about ways in which we could just try to force a trade of rooks. But once again, we have this problem. Like here, is it possible to just play this? Because the rook's not going anywhere, right? So f7 might be forced. Then we have... Yeah, I thought just rook g8. Can I switch the engine on real quick? I'm really sorry. This is a pass position anyway. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, problems. Creating problems for the opponents. Forcing some complexities. It is a small sag, not a big sag, because he played really well in the middle game and castled my hand. It's like the carpentry of chess. I used to think carpentry was the art of making carpets. It's not. I was wrong. It's the art of fixing carpets. No, I know it's stuff like woodwork, and am I wrong there too? Actually, I'm not going to go into this. I don't know anything about woodworking and carpentriness. I know Jesus was a carpenter, but that's all I know. The white rook just stays there forever. White uses his king and pawns and goes for a queen against the rook. Yeah, but this is my concern though, because in this position, if... okay, f7 and this, okay. I understand. I get it. You do tapestry? Can you fix me some tapes? Tapestry. Tapestry. Yeah. Tapestry. Tapestry is the art of making tape. I don't know how tape is made though. Tapeology. Is that the study of tapeworms? Maybe. Alright, I believe you. Yeah, I'm full of general knowledge facts, so you can ask me anything. I'm also really quick at math. If you ask me a math question, I can answer it almost immediately. So, after d4, I was looking at takes. Okay, king d3, because now takes and... okay. This is move 34. Carpentry. King d3. Can we make anything work though? Like. Maybe just pushing the pawn? Takes. And then we take back with this one. Or maybe keep it in the center. But I didn't want to allow b4 later. Although b4 is not that much of a threat, so maybe just taking. Yeah. King. And rook. Did I do something wrong? I mean, probably. Yeah, let's not allow that. Maybe just push here. And push. And go here. Takes, and this. What is my puppy doing? So my dog doesn't bark. I don't know, I don't think he knows how to. He is a husky, so he's vocal in his own way. He doesn't howl either, he doesn't know how to howl. He talks. He's a very talkative dog. He's attempted to bark in the past. It didn't come out as a bark though. I think he's actually a human disguised as a dog. But no, these are Jack Russells, I think, and Dachshunds. I mean, I love dogs, but these guys bark at anything and everything. I think there's like a total of 6 or 7 dogs in that house, so there's a lot of fence yapper. They'll like smell Coda, my dog, and do the whole barkaliciousness. And then Coda will try to respond, but then you'll hear him. Like, he has a very distinctive voice as well. Yeah. Just 6 or 7. Yeah, I have one, and he's like 10 dogs in one dog. He's enough to handle. But he's got a full personality. He's got like multiple traits in his person, or maybe multiple personalities, I don't know. Hangry, lovable, like, you know what I mean. Well, they are worse in other ways. He was a piranha. He had different stages growing up as well. He was a piranha as a puppy. Now he's just super lovable, and I can't imagine my life without him. Yeah, I've got some emotes on my channel as well, Coda. Yeah. Maybe I can just steal away some time and show you a picture, because I'm one of those dog parents who love to show off their dogs. He likes to stop and smell the roses. Not me and my 46,000 photos on my phone. He's the most beautiful dog you ever seen in your life. So King E4 was played. There we go. So probably need to lower the brightness to see it. There you go. That's my dog. He's got really cute eyes. It is looking quite bad, unfortunately. I'm very hopeful though. Have you tried to train your neighbor? No dear. You don't howl or bark either. Maybe your dog is imitating you. Maybe. I don't howl or bark. But how did the dogs next door learn how to bark then? Anything could happen in the next 5 minutes. I do agree that is true. Kostya has just dipped below a minute on the clock. If white gets e5, pawn, rook g7, rook e7. Oh dear, that's true. This idea could be quite upsetting indeed. Although Kostya is going for some passed pawn action, and I think that's worth noting. Maybe there's even ideas of trying to poke and prod a bit. I don't think it's over yet. According to the engine, maybe, but we're humans after all. You personally do howl? Alrighty. Puppies really do have piranha teeth. Yeah. Thank you so much for the follows this stream, everyone. Oh, rook g7 first, okay. Yeah, it shows that he's lost on time, but I don't think... I think that he's made a move at least already. Yeah, it's his opponent's turn at the moment. So we're just waiting for the board to update. Perhaps he's played the rook d8 here. I think rook d8 might be quite a nice try. Oh, rook g8. Okay, we're seeing something. Things are happening. Things are thinging right now. I think we'll see this situation. And then captures probably, or maybe not even. You just take here, take, and take, and something like this. That's not over. King e5 immediately. Here. Rook g8 doesn't work because king e5. And I think early you could calculate rook d8 and saw that it doesn't work because the resulting king and pawn endgames. Oh, okay. Understood. But I thought it works now because, I mean, you're threatening to queen and the rook has to do something, right? So here. Never mind. But then you just do that. But then here. I don't like this. Dang it. Well, he doesn't have a lot of time, so there's a chance for human error. Ah, right, d3 and... Oh, d3 after king e5, yeah, that's what I was saying, sorry. I could be very wrong, though. c5, rook e7 looks okay. If the pawn goes to d3, yeah. It is now move 35, so it's tough. Okay, f7's on the board. So I think we'll see this happen, because it's forced for black. He doesn't have a lot of time, but I think he's sorted out at least some sort of idea of what he needs to do here. I was thinking not even rook f8. Maybe go rook d8. Because the king hasn't captured on e5 yet. Okay, for sure he's made a move, right? Yeah, he just made a move. Oh, he did play rook f8, okay. So rook f8's on the board. They're on move 36. They need to make it to move 40 to get an extra 30 minutes. So Kostya's playing on seconds at the moment. I think to be safe, he decided to play rook f8. But what I'm also worried about is, okay, taking... Oh, these moves came in quickly. If rook d8 in that game, or that position rather, then I think there was just rook f6. And if you push the pawn, there's just queening. So rook f8 was the way to go. And after king e5, rook f7, like I said, it's still really, really tricky. 3 moves to go. Both players are below 2 minutes. And anything can happen. It's anything can happen Tuesdays. Or just Tuesday. But maybe here. Or here. But probably just taking. Here and here. Might be tough to figure out. And rook b7.
Super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Hang on a second. Thank you so much, Cappy. I appreciate it. 46 months. Oh, thank you. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Reminds me of what was it called? Pitch meetings on YouTube. Sharknado. So that's Russell, my TTS voice dude. I don't know if you guys heard it. Probably. Yeah, Yun is spending his time here. I'm good, how are you? Yes, pitch meetings. Woo! King h7 has better has seen better in games, I suppose. I'm still feeling hopeful though. Like, I have a lot of positive energy that we have to, start focusing. I'm out of coffee. All the coffee is gone. All right. So we'll see rook d6 for sure. Then we'll see rook b7. I don't want to make the moves because then the position's not going to update on live board. Then move 38. And Kostya made the last two moves quite quickly, so he gained some time on the clock. And I think we predicted this as well. And even though the position's not equal like we predicted, it's all about who can calculate the fastest here. And with very little time on the clock, I feel like your calculation elo does decrease by a couple points. Unless you're Hikaru Nakamura or Faruja. Rook d6 is on the board. What we could see, chat, which I think is still possible, is, like I said, rook b7, rook takes d4. Now, rook takes b2, rook d7 check, king g8. And how nice it would be if these pawns didn't exist, but they do. Rook a7. And maybe even some chances of checking the king, so causing some problems for white. And they still have to make two more moves. Kostya has two more moves, opponent has one more move to make with 55 seconds on the clock. And I think that move might be fairly easy for him to figure out. Wait, what did Kostya play? He played check? I thought rook b7 might be... Maybe I missed something. Let me check. Yeah, what did I miss? Okay, let me come back quickly. So when was f7 played? c5? Yeah, it was king e4, g8, f7, yeah. Rook. King takes e5. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it does matter. Okay. Yeah, both players have reached time control now, so not a huge issue for the time situation, but it is potentially quite an issue for the position. So I think, we can look at moves like rook to b4, but then just rook d4. Another option could be, well, I'm not so sure, playing rook a7, playing rook f7, but this rook is going to go to d5 and there won't be any way to stop that. You could play check and annoy the king a little bit because, the best the king can do is probably just go back to d4. We might see that. Kostya did the stare into space that people only do when they're thinking about, oh. I mean, he did that in the beginning of the game as well, so I'm not so sure. But maybe. You have it correct. But I don't understand Rook e7 check. Yeah, I think it's might just be like a situation where it's really, really tough to find an alternative. Because after this, you know, it's... Maybe even this, and this could be the problem. I think this is what he was looking at. Because you can't go check and try to, you know, fix the problem, but... You purchased some merch from me. I don't have it. Would you like me to use your business email from the Twitch? Yes, you can send me a picture. I hope that you like the merch. It was a pineapple and pawn t-shirt. Oh, I really hope that it's good quality and you're happy with it. Yeah. Here's the whole line planned from the start in the beginning. Some people can just see into the future, man. Oh, man. Should have retreated the bishop earlier. F5 started this mess and he seemed determined to keep him from long castling. Right. I thought F4 was a nice try by white in the beginning, but not so sure if it was the best try. Because Kostya posed some very interesting questions in the middle game. And yeah, that bishop retreating, I felt like that was still okay, even though I would have liked to know my opponent stop them from long castling. Yeah, for sure, I think Kostya must be quite tired. I mean, 9-round tournament doesn't sound that long, but it really, really is. Now imagine playing a World Championship match where games are, 12 games, it's 12 games long. They do have rest days, but it's not like you actually rest on that day. You're still thinking about the match, you're thinking about all these things. Or is the game finished? Alright, the game is finished, and I think Kostya resigned in that position. But good game from both sides. Of course, an unfortunate result. Oh, check in with Kostya, see how he feels. And if he feels like joining us or not. But I can imagine he must be super, super tired. Yep, big GG. GG to the opponent. And I think we, in total, saw just some really amazing chess during the Reykjavik. But it's also his first tournament of an array of tournaments he will be playing. Nine rounds is a long time. It is, especially if you're playing every single day. Yeah, at the end of this month, I'm playing a 9-round tournament, but I'm playing 2 games a day, so it's gonna be physical torture. Yeah, with 1990. Title Tuesday later? Probably not. Mainly because um, the game definitely went on longer than I thought, but I will go live on my channel a little bit later today. We'll do an unboxing of this guy. Got a nice package in the mail. And it'll be a nice short stream. You like that they're talking about the game instead of just handshake goodbye? Yeah, exactly. It's always good to discuss with the opponent. And I do like analyzing the game regardless of the result, usually, if my opponent was a very respectful opponent. Later, as in 7 minutes? In 7 minutes, maybe. What are we unboxing? It's a surprise. I haven't opened it yet, so it'll be a surprise for all of us. No, it's from a new chess company that wanted to distribute some product and have us check it out and see if we like it. So I haven't actually seen what it is, but I'm keen. I don't think it's a cat. There's no cat in the box. This is not a Schrödinger experiment. And I would be afraid if it were, because I probably would be able to smell the cat. Yeah. Shake it and see. Should I shake the box? I think it's full to the brim, because it's really heavy, so there's no cat inside, I don't think. It didn't meow at me when I collected it. What makes an opponent disrespectful during an OTB game? Playing while standing, walking off the moment they've played, making grunting noises during the game, just being disrespectful in terms of bad manners at the board. Could be a number of things. Yeah. So I think the YouTube stream ended, so we're just gonna stop that over there. Cool. Oh, thank you so much for being here. I felt like I was a little bit slow with the commentary today, but it's always a lot of fun to read chat, your thoughts going through different variations, talking about some off-topic things. And yeah, we'll just wait for Kostya, see if he's around or if he's too tired. But yeah, we'll do what David did yesterday. So if you have any questions in chat regarding the tournament, I can do some research, or regarding me, anything. Screwing down a piece after moving it considered disrespectful. Okay, Kostya can join. I think saved by the bell. Why is playing while standing considered rude? When if you want to make a quick move, you go to the bathroom. Well, then you go to the bathroom first. Or you make the move while seated. There are lots of unwritten rules. Yes. Misspelling the opponent's name. All right, we're going to have Kostya join us. Hello.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
A bit bummed. You know, it's always tough to lose last round.
I understand. I think I'm just, you can blame me. I'm quite the bad omen for the channel, I believe.
Bad luck, huh? Something.
Yeah, you shouldn't have me back again. I apologize.
No, it's not your fault.
You want to take
Yeah, I
us
mean,
through
I
the
thought
game? Mm-hmm.
I was doing well. Yeah, it was interesting game. Um, I surprised them in the opening and got the edge, I think. But yeah, somewhere, I mean, I think the end game must have been fine, but I probably went wrong. I mean, in my mind, I think D5 is the move I regret the most. I wish I played Bishop F8 there. I don't know, maybe
Oh,
I'm forced anyway, but that's kind of what I was thinking.
right, when you play d5, I'm just showing everybody quickly. I thought d5 was actually quite nice because you're stopping the king from, you're sort of bordering the center, you're controlling the center there. And then after bishop to c5, what was the threat here for white?
Um, I was just worried he was gonna like fix me with like B4, A4, just start pushing. And on Bishop C5, yeah, I got a bit frustrated because I didn't really want to allow this because
Hmm.
I felt like there was no reason to because I still have a move. His king is on D2 still, so I could go Bishop F8, King D3, and then D5, and then kind of keep him out.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh. Yeah, king d2, bishop f8. All right, I see that. Okay, okay. Because I thought that with your bishop on g7, you were sort of trying to provoke this f6, because then it wasn't too much of a problem. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, then it looked kind of good. The rook on h6, if you did trade the bishops later, wouldn't be threatening anything on the sixth rank. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely wanted him to go F6, and then he has to keep his rook on the H file because otherwise my king can come in, like King H7, King G6.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I think even if I start Bishop F8, like, yeah, I think the bishop is just better here, and then he can play F6. He cannot play F6, but at least I have a way to improve my position. I can go like D5, Bishop D6, move my rook, and I probably am not playing for anything there. I mean, because my king is so passive, but I think it's hard for him to make progress as well,
That's true.
I would think.
Yeah. Well, after white plays bishop to c5, was there anything else you were considering?
Mm, only other thing I looked at there was like rook B8, but I thought
Mm-hmm.
he goes B4, and
Mm.
yeah, I didn't really see what to do.
Because then you could wait,
Not sure.
like waiting for the king to move, and then going after
Mm-hmm.
like c3 pawn or something.
Oh, like E4?
Yeah. So if king d3 e4, and the king is just sort of forced to defend unless they're happy with the trade of bishops. Then you've got king g7 after it all.
But
Maybe.
let's say he puts the king on E3.
Mm-hmm.
I go E4 there.
So let's say, I don't know, some move. And you could play e4 immediately, but I was thinking like e4 would check. So king e3, I don't know. I didn't get this far in my analysis, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, maybe I can just sit somewhere and hold it, but
Hmm.
it's really tough to know when you can just like sit and do nothing.
That's very
Um,
true.
and yeah, I mean, I saw this F5 coming like basically when I played. I mean, like when I played King F8, honestly, like I kind of thought we would get this endgame with Knight D5. I trade, I go Queen C7,
Hmm.
Queen C6. And basically, I think black is totally fine if not for this F5 thing. It's like the only kind of scary try.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's very hard to evaluate from afar. Like I thought, white could overpush there. I'm like, not. I didn't think I'm in trouble, but
Mm-hmm.
good lesson, huh? I mean, these rook end games.
Working games are definitely tough. And that's why I kept having to go back and also ask chat for help because I didn't have the evaluation bar or any of the lines on. So I was like trying to ask for help basically. I didn't understand what was going on. You said it was hard to evaluate from afar. Were you just standing really far away from the board, or why didn't you sit down?
Yeah, it's just like, no, it's pretty close. I was pretty close to the board.
Sorry, bad joke. But thank you for still making time for us. I appreciate you joining us regardless. And yeah, I promise to not come back for any of the next tournaments because I'm the bad omen here. So you can just blame me and, move on.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you, Jesse, for covering. Did you see those kids, by the way, by the window? I don't know if the camera picked them up.
Yeah, I thought they were doing some Pilates or something. Or were they just like waving at the camera?
No, they're just funny. One of them made a face at me
Oh
during
dear.
the game.
Okay, a good face or a
Um,
bad face?
no, just making faces like a little kid. No, like that. No, it's totally innocent. But then I realized maybe it's inappropriate. I shouldn't be making faces at anyone because I was making faces back.
Oh
Um,
my gosh. We have to go back and see because I wasn't having the camera up the entire time. Oh my word. All right, if any of you
oh,
spotted that, please clip it and ship it. Thank you. Oh, lovely. It's good to know that you still have your sense of humor during the game. Everyone's laughing.
yeah. No, I mean it was before I was worse. So the kid came at a good time. Uh,
There's a question in chat. Was there a reason Kostya played d5 before bishop f8? Was expecting bishop f8 and then d5 and then bishop d6. Okay, that's basically what you said a little bit earlier. I was looking at...
yeah, basically I just underestimated bishop c5 because in my mind it's like I have the bad bishop. So I thought, I just didn't realize like, oh, white can try to shut me in with bishop c5 and then it's hard to get out without trading. But I rushed there because I still had plenty of time. I should have just spent an extra minute or two, and I think I would have realized like bishop f8 is at least more testing.
So not playing bishop f8 really cost, yeah.
That was the one.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. We made a joke during stream using that pun. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah. Well, I hope it cheered you up. And what's next for you? Is it training camp next?
No, I'm playing Granky Open in 2 days.
Ooh. Okay, when do you travel there? Tomorrow?
So tomorrow, yeah, I'm flying to Germany. I'm gonna take a train, I think, to Karlsruhe. And yeah, no, that'll be fun. I mean, I think it was overall a great tournament. Like, I learned a lot, and I had some good games. It all comes down to this last game. It's unfortunate. The one game I had against someone within 200 rating points.
True, it was either like super low or super high. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Make or break in this final round for a lot of people. But yeah, that's chess.
And after analyzing your game from yesterday, how did you feel about your play?
I like the game from yesterday. I thought, yeah, of course I could have pushed more, but overall I was pretty happy with how I handled it.
Yeah, I saw the king in the center, and I was like, surely you're going to castle in this game. And then somehow you did get a sort of castle position, but castling by hand. So I was like, yes.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here again, Kostya. And we'll definitely be watching your progress in the next tournaments. And thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jesse. And yeah, hopefully chat was nice today. So
Kinda. Well, definitely nicer than the guys pulling faces at you outside.
oh, those kids were sweet. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks everyone for watching.